video, we'll see how to use ZebraDesigner version 3 for designing basic labels without any issue that normally people face in the margins and all. Okay, so I'll just guide you through some of the best practices you can adopt in designing. And also I'll guide you how to generate the PRN files so that the PRN files can be integrated into your applications. The development part that you can do with your own software to print without using design and the drivers. Okay, so let's start. So here we are on the desktop. So I start ZebraDesigner version 3. So what I have here is a professional version. So you can download the essential, which is free, and professional is licensed. So with your free essential installation, you can design a basic design part. You can print directly to the printer. There is no limitation as such, and you can also generate the PRN files out of it. Okay. Only thing is you cannot connect to database part. So that is professional can do the database connectivity part. Okay. So now our designer version 3 is open. So all you have here is create a new label and open, and then you have this banner page to lead you to the drivers and the help page, home page for the ZebraDesigner on our site. Okay, so now let's click create new label. If you have any existing labels, it's the recent files all will be listed here. You just click and open the existing label files if you have. So now for this training, I just click create a new label. So then it will ask which printer you want to design onto. So this is very important. Let's say you don't have a printer, but you can download, install a driver, the relevant driver, and then you can start designing on it. So it's not that you need a printer to start working with the designer. Okay, but you should have one driver installed. That it should be ZebraDesigner driver should be installed. So my active printer here is ZD500R 203DP. So I've selected that printer from the drop-down list. Okay. So you can modify the printer settings. So thing to note here is each design that you create can have its own unique printer settings. Okay. Let's say you have a design which is supposed to be printed on a resin label. So resin label obviously requires higher darkness settings and a lower print speed. So you have to set a darkness of 25, okay, and a speed of around 3 IPS or a 2 IPS. So that is one design. And then you design something else for a paper label. So that could be a shipping label, obviously. So in those scenarios, you will be setting a darkness of around 12 and a speed of maximum speed of 6 IPS or 8 inches per second. You can do that. So you don't have to fiddle around with the Windows driver settings per se. Okay, so each label can have its own driver settings. So if you want to change any quality parameter, the print related settings, you have to come back to the design template, open the design, change its driver settings, not the Windows driver setting. So if you change around the Windows driver setting, nothing will take effect when you print. Okay. So now I just show that printer properties here, what you can do. So I just go to print options, and here is where you can change the print speed and the darkness parameter. Okay, so now I just reduce the speed to 4 and I put the darkness to 15. Okay, I have a paper label here and I use a wax resin ribbon, so for that matter I put the darkness at 15. Okay, and you have the operation mode here. So here you can set the mode on which the printer is supposed to work on. So whether it should be in tear off mode, peel off mode, or cutter mode. So depending on the physical printer that you have, select these modes. Okay, so now I'm working with my printer with tear off, so I select this option. So that's all you can do over here in the driver parameters of the design. I just click OK and come to next. So here the page size is very important. So this is where most of the mistakes happen. So when you are designing for smaller size labels, so this is the critical part here. So and I'll just tell you what all the best practice you can do on this page. So always go for the print on a sheet of paper, which is the manually set and modify the page size. Okay, so the default is actually here automatic. So you don't have the control to select whether your what is your label's left margin and the right margin. So when I say margin, whenever you get a label, there is always a leading edge further to the label, right? So there is a 2 mm leading edge or a 3 mm leading edge. So those part is where you define it here. Once you define it here only, that can be done on the label parameters, which I will show you again. So here I select the manual option. Okay, so the units of measurement can be selected here, whether it should be in centimeter, inches, or millimeters, or dots. Okay, so it's always preferable to be in millimeters. Okay, so now let us assume that I have a label of 100 by 100 millimeter. Okay, so I select 100. Not, it should not be in 100 here. So obviously the labels left and right, there will be a leading gaps also, right? So I put 106. So I just measured there is a 3 mm gap towards the left and 3 mm gap towards the right also. Okay, other than the interlabel gaps here. So I put the height also has 100. Okay, so here width I put it as 106 and the height here is 100 mm. Okay, so we'll come to the label part. So now what we are defining here is the page size, not the label size. So now coming to the next page, so here is where you design the orientation part, how you want the print to come, whether it should be in portrait mode or landscape mode. So you can see the preview here, how it comes out from the printer. If it is in portrait mode, you can see the ABC is coming this way. So if I select landscape, it will print this way. Okay, so you can design the label accordingly. So let's put it back to portrait. And what this rotated mode does is, you can see how the label comes out, how the print comes out of the printer. So if I am standing in front of the printer, this is how the print part will come. Okay, so this is all fine if you are using a desktop or a tabletop printers, which is kept on a desk. So imagine if you are going for a mobile printer. So mobile printers typically will be hanging on from the shoulder on a shoulder strap, or will be put onto the belt. So it is facing downwards. In those scenarios, if you are printing this way, you have to see what the print content is after tearing off the label and taking it on your hand. So rather than that, if it is in this mode, the person standing with his printer on his shoulder strap or on his hip belt can see what is getting printed directly. So instead of tearing off and then rotating and see. So that is the option, why that is the purpose what this rotated option is given. Okay. So for our demo, I just take it out. So let's click next. So now here is the label dimension part comes in. So this is where you mention the exact label size. The previous one was a page size. So this is your page size, and this is going to be your label size. Okay. So now it is showing 106 mm and height of 100 mm. Okay. So now I say that label is 100 mm for me. I put 100 and click anywhere. So you can see there is a gap coming in now. Okay. So now there should be a 3 mm gap here, 3 mm gap here. So I left, I say it is 3 mm. Again, you click anywhere. Okay, so it comes back to the 3 mm left and 3 mm right. So this is how you have to design. So a lot of people make the mistake here. They mention it is 100. So when they print, what happens is the leftmost text sometimes get cut. So they actually do the adjustment by moving the entire content towards the right. So that is not the right option. So they will get into issues if they have multi ups labels, like a 2 up label or a 3 up label. So now imagine this being 100 mm by 100 mm, right? So let's say you want to design something for 30 by 30 labels. So let's say 30 by 30. So 30, 30, 30, you will have 90 mm totally, and there is a interlabel gap of 2 mm. Okay, so between 30 and the next 30, there is a 2 mm gap. Okay, so 30 plus 90, and then the two interlabel gaps of 2 mm plus 2 mm. So that will come to 94, and then there is a leading margin of left margin of 3 mm, and then the right margin of 3 mm. So all put together, it will come to around 100 mm. Let's see how we have to design that part. So now I say my page width is 100. So based on the calculation I told. So my page width is 100 and my height is obviously 30 mm, right? So I told 30 by 30, right? So my page height is 30 mm and my label height width is 100. Okay, next. So my label dimension is 30 mm. Okay, and my left margin is 3 mm. That is fine. Now you only see one label here. Okay, so now it is supposed to be 3 labels across, right? So now here this labels across count here, horizontal count. So make it 2, 3. So now we have 3 labels and there are no interlabel gaps mentioned here. So you have to mention the horizontal gap as 2 mm, which is what I told. So 2 is going to be my interlabel gap. So just click anywhere, you will get the preview correct. So now there is a 3 mm gap here, 3 mm gap here, 2 mm of interlabel gaps. Okay, so this is how you make the label design, label size properly into the design part. Okay, so now let's say finish. So I'm straight away going into the complicated part of designing the small labels itself. So you can be familiar in designing a bigger labels. So bigger labels are very easy for you to design. So now I just say finish. So this is how your design part comes out. Okay, so people normally think that they have to design for all the labels. So there is a 3 labels across here, right? It's not so. You will be designing only for this label. Okay, and you will be saying file print, it should go to 3 labels. So that is how you are supposed to design, not to design for all the 3 contents. Okay, so now let's say how to design. So you have these options in the left corner to select a text or a barcode or a picture or these shapes, whether you want to select a rectangle, line, or some other elliptical form. So circle or elliptical, you can design it. Okay, so now I just click text and then come back to the design, click here. So you have the option to do some input for the text field. Okay, so I just double click that field and I can put some name, information here. So what I put is company name. Okay, so I'll come to the other parts later. I just say apply, close. So now this design, it is out of the labels design area. So if I just click here, you can see it is showing in red. Okay, that is because it is out of the labels design area. So I just click, drag, and put it back into the relevant area. So now it is all proper, right? And one more thing to note here is this text. If you see here, you can see one printer icon coming down. Okay, so that is because it is the printer resident font that is being used. Okay, so now you can see on top what font the designer is using. Okay, so I just drop down. You can see the list of Zebra fonts. All these are Zebra specific fonts. So this CG Triumvirate font is the best option if you want to generate PRN files. Okay, so if you don't want to generate PRN files, you can go ahead and select any of the font that you have on Windows. Okay, so just select any of the font. So I select the Arial font. So click here. You can see it's gone out of the margin. That's why it has gone to red. So I click and bring it back to the area. So this is how you select a different font. Okay. So now I get it back to the Zebra font itself. Okay. So the font that I was using is CG Triumvirate. I select it back. Put the text back to the correct margin. So this is done. So now to make it more glossy, I just put a line and then I select a barcode, click it, come down here, and then I can select a barcode where I want to position, and you want to change the data and the barcode symbology, select it, double click it. You have the option coming in here. So what is the barcode data that is going to be in here, and what barcode symbology you want, code 128 or any other symbology you want, select that. Okay, so this is how you can put a barcode into the design. So done. So now few more things that you can do. Few of the key parameters that has been introduced in version 3. What you can do is the position. Okay, so you want to rotate the barcode. So you have to come down here and then do this rotation parameters. Okay, so now the same thing. So before doing rotation, make sure the barcode is not in graphical form. Huh? So here the printing optimization that comes in here. You can see the printer font that is there here, right? So you have to, for rotation, it is always mentioned you have to put it in graphical format. Okay, so you can put it in graphical format. Otherwise, you can only rotate in 90 degrees or 180-degree part. So I'll show that part also. So I just select the printer font here for the barcode. So now we'll come to position. So I can put 90 degree here. Apply. So it just goes to 90 degree. So new thing about our design is you can do a rotation like this also. So this is actually a new part on designer version 3. This was not in version 2. So this way also we can do design. So if at all there is a requirement like this to print, yes, you can do it. So if no one does it, but still you have the option to do this way also. Okay. So now I just say file, print. So you can see the number of copies is 3 here. So it's occupied for all the 3 labels. So I only designed for 1, but I just selected 3 copies. It just go to 3. We just selected 2, comes to second label. So normally when you are doing a 3ups and generating a PRN file out of it, if you're not going to print directly to the printer, just designing to create a PRN file, always make sure you are selecting 3 labels and then you generate the PRN file, give it across to developer. Okay, so now before I show you the PRN file part, let us put this back to the printer resident font, because now you see the printer icon is missing on this, right, because of this rotation part. So I put it back to this way, which is the exact horizontal way. So now the printer font has come back. So now I say file, print, and you have the option here, print to file. Yeah? So for generating PRN files, you have to select this and say print. So it will ask for a file name to be generated. So I say 3up. I can put a txt also directly. You can leave it as it is. It will generate a 3up.prn file as a name. Okay. So now it is being saved on my desktop folder under the training. So I just say save. So minimize. Let's go to the desktop and see the training folder. So I just open the training folder. So you can see a 3up.txt being created here. So just open and see how the file looks like. So this is how the file looks like. Okay. So before you hand over this file to a developer, always remove the best practices. Always remove the top contents. So the one part you need to be remembering is this is called the ZPL script. Okay, this is what the printer understands. So the driver that we used is ZD500R 203 DPA ZPL, right? So this is the driver, ZPL driver. So this is actually the Zebra programming language. This entire script. So always remember the caret XA to caret XZ is one job. Okay, so what this caret XA to caret XZ is doing here is it's the printer related settings. what speed the printer should run, what darkness the printer should run on. Okay, so once you integrate this script into any application, you don't have the freedom of changing the printer settings on your own. So even if you right now, if you see the darkness we set was 15, so tomorrow let's say you want to increase the darkness to 18 or 19, you cannot do it because the application is coming with a darkness of 15. So even if you change the darkness to 18, once the print is given, the printer will again go back to 15 darkness because the 15 is coming here. So you don't have control on the printer. So for you to have control on the printer, it is always advisable to remove the printer related settings from the PRN file. So how to see where the printer related settings end is, look out for the caret XA and look out for the caret XZ, the first set of caret XA to caret XZ. And then there is another set that will start. So this is exactly your label content. So this caret XA to caret XZ is your label content. So this is the content that is going to the printer. You can see the company name and the barcode value here. Okay, so what I do is I select the top entire content up to caret XA. The second caret XA here. So you can remove everything. So save this file and give it across to your developer. So this is how you design a label, create a PRN file, and use it in your application. Okay, thanks for watching the video.